I'm with Merijn to Booij. He's the Chief Marketing Officer at Genesys. So Merijn, can you give us an update on Kate?
Sure. So I think if we go 2 years back in time and we think about where Kate was at that time, it was really our first step into the wonderful world of artificial intelligence, right, machine learning. And while going through that journey, we added a lot of application power in our product portfolio, and Kate is really becoming our virtual assistant domain, both for the consumer-facing part of the world, but also at the agent assist level. So when an agent is on his desktop, we're helping him with Kate or her with Kate, suggested answers, all based on machine learning capabilities that we have.
And you're still talking about blended AI?
We're still talking about blended AI. Blended AI is really a feature capability of Genesys AI, and blending is still based on the fact that you can bring your own bot. We are happily dancing with other parties that are generating AI capabilities and applications. We also do it with the human element to it, right? And we still believe and think that over the next 25 years or even longer, there will be a very big interest in having a human in a conversation that really matters. And I think that the ability that we have is to uniquely focus on where humans add value, based on the skills that they bring to the table, is still what blended AI is all about.
And can you talk about predictive routing?
Yeah, so it's a really good example of why Kate is focusing on the virtual assistant world of the house, because predictive routing became an application that allows us to use AI to make routing decisions in a very different way. And I think the most important part of it is that we can let go of paradigms that we have been seeing in the contact center for a long, long time, like service level or queues or elements like that, and really make decisions on the skills that we bring to the table. If I have 1,000 customers, I got 100 agents. Who are the 100 people I really want to engage with to drive an outcome that is best served by a human, a blended AI domain? And predictive routing tells me who those agents are and creates the match really effectively, and making sure that we have those conversations to drive the right outcomes as well.
And what about performance DNA?
Now, performance DNA is tightly coupled to that. It's also an AI-based application. We learned very quickly that when you do predictive routing and you start scoring each and every agent on what the outcome would have been, for instance, if you use NPS as a driver, every interaction that we get, we score every agent, even if they're not in the house, to see what the outcome would have been. And by tightly linking it into performance DNA, we automatically generate training plans, right? So we know exactly what the skills are, what the gaps are. We can even do it by time of day, right? If you are a morning person, then your skill set will be different in the morning than in the afternoon. I'm an owl, so I go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm much better in the afternoon than I'm in the morning. So you can use that as well from a training perspective.
And all of this is used to find the best match for the best agent and customer.
Yeah, so it's really focusing on the outcome that you want to drive. So a certain agent will drive a better outcome with a certain customer. So when you do profiling really well, and I'm not talking about old-fashioned demographics, but profiling based on what is this customer really trying to achieve, you match that with the right agent to drive that outcome. And we do that and balance that very well across the population.
And how else is Genesys using AI?
So we're using it in our WFO elements. So we're using it for forecasting, we're using it for scheduling. We have a lot of customers that are heavy on the contact center side, so they've got a ton of agents. To create schedules and forecasts for that number takes a long time, used to take a long time. With AI, we have dramatically downgraded the time that it takes and run in parallel as well.
So for companies that want to get their feet started with AI, what would you recommend?
I would recommend to do something that you know is pragmatic, that is not bespoke, and that drives an outcome that you can measure. It's not something that you have to have a lot of fear for, but you have to get your training shoes on, making sure that it does the thing that you want to drive from an outcome perspective.
Okay, and we know that Genesys is really pushing for the cloud, and talking a lot about Genesys Cloud. What are you hearing from customers who aren't moving to the cloud yet? What do you think is holding them back?
It's a really good question, and of course you wish you had all the answers, right? I think a big part of it is, and rightly so, people are really looking at security, at privacy, at how do we use data, etc. I think that's holding them back a little bit. So they're in their life cycle of trying to understand what it will bring to them, how they would innovate going forward, what will happen with the data that I have right now on premise, and it might feel safe, but it's not. And cloud is still, for those people, I think, an element of uncertainty and kind of research on where they are. And I think that we did a webinar, and out of all the people who were there, 10% said we are not sure about cloud. So 90% is moving to the cloud. So it's a diminishing, smaller group, but there's still some people that are still researching what cloud is all about.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you, Blair.